여보세요?
Save your time, save your money. Welcome to Rotten Real Roll. I'm Sinmin. Today, we are going to discuss the recently released South Korean movie, Ballerina. Before we start, please like, share, and follow our channel if you enjoy this content. Don't forget to hit the notification bell for updates. Thank you. Seeing the title, you probably already guessed that this is a terrible film. Well, at least that's my opinion. But before you rush to dismiss it, remember that our channel is not just about rating and helping you avoid bad ones. The most crucial aspect of our channel is the process of analysis. It delves into what makes a movie good or bad, as well as the reflections prompted by the film. And it's often these final reflections that are the most intriguing. Without further ado, let's get right into it. This movie's plot is simple. Jeon Jong-seo is a recluse female bodyguard. One day, she gets a call from her long-lost friend, played by Park Yurim. Rushing to her friend's place, she finds her dead in the bathtub with a note, urging her to seek revenge. Jeon Jong-seo discovers her friend was a victim of a group that secretly filmed and exploited women. They used drugs to lure girls from clubs, recording their assaults in a hotel. Profiting from these recordings, they forced the girls into sex slavery and prostitution. Jeon Jong-seo, furious after learning the truth, seeks revenge. For our regular viewers, we typically steer clear of obviously bad films. If a movie gets a 5 on IMDb in negative reviews, most won't bother watching without our advice. We focus on the misleading films, ones with decent ratings and high praise despite being bad, like Barbie, and now, Ballerina. That's what sets our channel apart. Ballerina scored 6.2 on IMDb, not too high, but with lots of 10/10 reviews. Rotten Tomatoes rates it 100% fresh. It looks like a forgotten masterpiece, but the truth is different. At best, it's a 5, belonging to the not worth your time junk movies category. Coming up, I'll explain why. This movie is inspired by the Enroom case, a notorious instance of continuous sexual exploitation through coerced videos and images in online chat rooms, which caused a stir in South Korea. South Korea boasts a history of outstanding realistic films like Hope, Silenced, The Attorney, and Parasite, which even influenced legislation considered as game changers for the nation. However, Ballerina diverges significantly. It tackles realistic subject matter through a surreal narrative and filming style. The Avenger is not a victim but an adept, nearly invincible female bodyguard. Her revenge isn't via legal advocacy or strategy but brute force. It's like a Hope-inspired tale turned into a movie resembling Sin City or Batman. This creates a disjointed sense, as the excessive focus on entertainment diminishes the serious nature of the subject matter, halting any further exploration. If a female superhero can easily obliterate the villains, discussing the larger context of the case seems unnecessary. The issues highlighted mainly concern the overall film aspects. There are more criticized details. For instance, the protagonist's motive for revenge is quite strained. Taking the Revenge trilogy by Park Chan-wook as an example, the motives of Choi Min-sik and Lee Young-in Oldboy and Lady Vengeance respectively are clear because they were framed by their enemies, losing their freedom for many years. In sympathy for Mr. Vengeance, Shin Ha-kyun kidnaps the boss's daughter because his sister needs a kidney transplant. These motives are self-evident, needing no explanation. However, in Ballerina, the motive of the female lead Jeon Jong-seo is strange. She seeks revenge for a primary school classmate she barely knew, only getting acquainted as adults and briefly spending time together. Their lack of contact before the victim's suicide makes the protagonist's vengeful act seem forced. The director apparently recognized this issue. Therefore, after entering the revenge plot, there were numerous forced emotional scenes between the protagonist and the victim, while emphasizing the protagonist's loneliness and repeatedly claiming, "You are my best friend," attempting to enhance the rationality of her revenge. This attempt backfired, appearing forced and ruining the pacing. Moreover, the character development throughout the film is shallow, and the details are not very meticulous. The two male antagonists are stereotypical villains, and even the protagonist and the ballet girl who was victimized, you can't really describe their personalities. 3/4 of the entire film is just about fighting. Of course, if it were only a film purely focused on action and killing, it wouldn't be a big issue, such as the John Wick series, which can be made very enjoyable. The problem is that the director refused to just do that and wanted to ride the wave of feminism, seemingly wanting to explore something. Hence, this created a chimera that doesn't fit into any category. It's particularly regrettable for the lead actress Jeon Jong-seo in this film. She's a highly acclaimed figure among South Korea's emerging actresses, exuding a unique aura and contributing to notable works such as Burning and Call previously. However, this movie probably marks a new low in her acting career. In the high-rated reviews about this film, many viewers liken it to the South Korean version of Kill Bill, representing a new pinnacle for South Korean feminist action movies. This interpretation is probably a misunderstanding of Kill Bill, although the two indeed share some similarities in the main storyline. Compared to Kill Bill, this film, besides a significant gap in artistic standards, has a major difference in the understanding of feminism. These different interpretations somewhat represent the two major trends in feminism today. Kill Bill emphasizes individual revenge, while Ballerina focuses on female collectivism against men. In Kill Bill, Uma Thurman seeks revenge for herself, not for any female friend. Moreover, apart from Bill, her targets for revenge also include female assassins such as Lucy Liu, Vivica Fox, Daryl Hannah, and the people helping her are male menors like Shinichi Chiba and Xia Huiliu. In other words, from beginning to end, this film is purely about individual revenge, devoid of gender opposition. It just happens that the lead character is a woman. In Ballerina, we witness a clear-cut division. Nearly all male characters in the film are villains and demons, while the female roles are uniformly good or victims. The protagonist's revenge is not based on personal reasons but follows a collective approach, emphasizing the concept of girls help girls and the resultant gender opposition. Similar value guidance being commonly reflected in the comment sections. Strictly speaking, if the director had abandoned such a setup, this film could have effectively resolved the issue of the female lead's revenge motivation. For instance, the female lead and the victim could have been depicted as a couple, or the main character of the film could have been a male seeking revenge for his girlfriend. However, both these setups couldn't accommodate the director's intended message of all women uniting together since love complicates the purity of revenge. The problem lies in the fact that the revenge initiated by Jeon Jong-seo doesn't inherently prove this idea. The reason is, within the proposition of women resisting men, the legitimacy includes women being naturally in a disadvantaged position, even when cast in the role of liberators. For example, in Harriet, the protagonist Harriet Tubman was herself a slave. Similarly, in Django Unchained, Django's primary task is to liberate himself before he can advocate resistance. In contrast, in this film, with Jeon Jong-seo playing the female bodyguard, we don't see any oppression coming from a male-dominated society. Instead, she effortlessly crushes all the male characters in the film. In this context, her gender label becomes merely symbolic. She appears more like a savior independent of gender difficulties. You could replace this character with a male or even an alien, and the story would still work. However, such a setup undoubtedly fails to meet the director's insistence on putting forward a specific agenda that he couldn't compromise on. Due to this directorial insistence, it has led to different assessment criteria for these two films among audiences. Those who give high ratings to Kill Bill mostly do so because they genuinely believe the film is well made. Meanwhile, those who give high ratings to Ballerina often prioritize their stance, endorsing the film's conveyed political ideas. The film's actual quality and artistic standards are considered less important. As a result, audiences assess these two films differently. Kill Bill receives high ratings mostly because viewers believe it's well crafted. In contrast, high ratings for Ballerina often stem from supporting its political views rather than its quality or artistry. This stance over facts trend has become quite common in the film industry lately. A notable recent example is Barbie. It's a disaster but got an 8 for rating from some die-hard fans at the start, even snagging the annual box office champ title. It recently fell to 7, still massively overrated. On the flip side, certain historically prestigious films were collectively trashed by political opposers. For example, In China, Schindler's List dropped from 9.4 to 4.1 in days due to official Hamas support. In the US, The Birth of a Nation, featured in numerous film textbooks, got downgraded to 6.2. Many low raters stated, despite its groundbreaking tech, they'll still give it a 1. And any positive comments, even technical ones, are seen as racist. This was commonplace in communist countries last century. In China's Cultural Revolution, there was a widespread large campaign against relativity theory, claiming Einstein was a bourgeois scientist, leading to the brutal purges of most relativity theory scholars in universities. Today, this trend has reappeared in China and the United States simultaneously, which is undeniably lamentable. Certainly, films can't completely detach from politics. However, a film that solely emphasizes political expression at the expense of aesthetics is unlikely to become an excellent movie. Failing to independently assess artistic value and political stance ultimately damages the film industry itself. Once such judgment standards become mainstream, it creates a mechanism that drives out good money with bad among creators. As a poor-quality film might gain false praise and significant box office returns by catering to the tastes of some extremists. Conversely, a film driven by sincerity may suffer a reverse fate due to contrasting reasons. This is a kind of sorrow for those who want to make good movies and for true movie lovers. Well, that's all for today. If you enjoyed this episode, please feel free to like, subscribe, and share our video. And don't forget to ring the bell for updates, so that YouTube's algorithm can better recommend our channel. See ya!